first of all, off the court, you know, all the things he does just to be ready for the game. He shows up like 10 hours before the game. So, I mean, that was really the main, like, I was, what? I came to the arena.
For
he was
22
already,
years?
He was already done working out. I was like, what?
Well, isn't that interesting? So, of all the people who are saying Luka Doncic needs to learn how to work harder, Luka Doncic is the one saying it in that clip yesterday. What did you make of that?
Like, there's two ways you can go with this. First of all, LeBron's right there, right? So he's not going to go like, this guy's crazy.
Right.
Instead, he's going to honor the fact that he puts in that work. But is he saying it in a way of saying, this guy gets there 10 hours before the game? I ain't doing that. Like, you don't know. Like, you don't know really what he's thinking, because when you see somebody do things that you realize that's what it takes to get there, yeah, I don't think I have that in me. Like, only he knows what he feels.
You know where LeBron learned this? Did any of you watch the documentary on the Redeem team?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the Kobe story?
Yeah.
So LeBron says that he and D. Wade came down to have breakfast one morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and Kobe Bryant was coming out of the gym in a full sweat, had already done a full workout. And LeBron's first reaction is, man, that guy's crazy. And then the next day, he and D. Wade went down there at 4 o'clock in the morning like Kobe did. And by the end of it, all of them were down there at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's called leadership. It's called leading by example. And maybe it is something that through osmosis, Luka Doncic actually does pick up, and this could be the ticket that they're looking for.
We got a lot of science words today. Jay had crystallized, Greeny has osmosis. You're correct. Look, this clip makes me laugh because I'm with Han. It's kind of like when you get a backhanded compliment sometimes, Greeny. Like somebody will be like, okay, blue suit, and it's not necessarily like, I love your blue suit. It's just like, I see your blue suit.
It's a nice blue suit, Greeny. No, it's really good suit.
Greeny. It was just an example. You look great.
What's the matter with my blue suit?
No, that's not.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
You look great, Greeny.
Go ahead.
To your point, Luka acknowledges the noise around him. He acknowledges how he could be more effective as a basketball player, but will he take those steps? And I'm willing to give him room to grow, although I remember early in his career, Luka was like, I'm not playing until I'm 40, I ain't doing that. He's not interested, and I hold space for a guy who understands what they want out of it. But with this guy as your teammate, the noise in terms of his preparation and growth in the category of his body is only gonna get louder.
Jay.
It is crazy that LeBron shows up 10 hours before the game. It was crazy watching Kobe do it when I played. It was crazy hearing the stories about Michael Jordan and Tim Grover, who trained me in Chicago. Crazy is what wins you championships. It's what gets you to the next level. And all of a sudden, when your craziness becomes genius, everybody's like, this is the standard of excellence it takes. And my thing is, when I hear Luka Doncic say that, he needs to keep openly talking about it, and that needs to become the norm. And LeBron James being right there in that moment, I think LeBron James is even recognizing, yeah, it's my job to make sure that this thing that's crazy to you becomes standardized. This becomes normal to you. Because, look, at the end of his career, LeBron James is just as accountable as Luka is at this moment. That's why they made the trade. Both of those guys need to be two peas. They need to be working together to fight for this championship, and that's LeBron James' responsibility as much as it is Luka's.
I don't want to hear a lick about it. I want you to show up, be cut, ripped, and hoop. Like, I could care less what y'all got to say on podcasts. Do not care. Show up.
But you really do make an interesting, Jay makes an interesting point. And I mean this in the best possible way. To become one of those guys, you have to be maniacally devoted to becoming that, dedicated at all times. And that's what it's going to take. Does he want to do it or not? I guess we'll find out. We will have the game one of the NBA Finals coming your way on Thursday night. It's Halliburton and the Pacers. It's SGA and the Thunder. It's game one Thursday, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8. Coming up, the big Halliburton is an NBA superstar. Is that fact or fiction?
Fiction. You know how I am about this stuff. Superstars are rare. There's only a handful of them. You can count on maybe, they're under 10. He could get there, though, if he pulls off this massive upset in the finals.
If there are under 10, then I completely agree with you. I think the most interesting part of that is how we define superstar, and everyone has a different definition. Monica, looking back on the Eastern Conference Finals, if someone were to say, look, the Pacers just control this rivalry against the Knicks, is that fact or fiction?
Currently, painful facts here in New York. I mean, this is 2 years in a row where the Pacers put the Knicks out. And this one in particular, I think, really stings. People will look back at game one. The personal one that stuck in my crosshairs is game 4 in this series. But yeah, yeah, right now the Pacers are up in this one.
Bottom line is, when the Pacers beat the Knicks last year, I think the Knicks felt like, we weren't healthy.
Yep.
We weren't, and this year they were, and they still didn't get it done. Jay Will, if someone said Jalen Brunson can be the best player on an NBA championship team, is that fact or fiction?
Got a new one for you, Gritty. I'm going to say faction. I think he can, but the probability is very, very slim. Everything would need to be perfect for it to crystallize to the most efficient degree. The only concern you have about him is that for a guy who's so small, getting to a spot and defenses loading up on him will be a challenge. So I think it's possible, but 5%.
There was literally no one in the world better at finding a nuanced reason not to answer a question than Jay Williams. He's just incredible. He has taken fact and fiction, combined them into a word, which was not on the option list that we gave you. But I like it. You're like my wife. You order off the menu. No matter what else. My wife considers the menu a suggestion, so I like that you're willing to do the same thing. Okay, bottom line of it is this. Let's talk about Jalen Brunson for just a minute.
Okay.
Jalen Brunson is a terrific player. My feelings on him last week, if you were watching the show, you're well aware of what they all are. Jalen Brunson cannot win this thing alone, nor can practically anybody these days. And the one thing the Knicks desperately need, or any team that depends on a player like him desperately needs, is what they do not have. How did he plays a similar style to Luka Doncic, right? Not the same game, but a similar style. Dribble the ball like crazy.
Right.
What do you need? You need to spread the floor. You need shooters. You need all that kind of stuff. They don't have that. They have not built a team around him winning an NBA championship. Do I have that right?
They think they did. I mean, again, Mikal Bridges is a good shooter. He was a good corner three. OG, one of the best corner threes in the game. That's a spread the floor kind of thing. Karl-Anthony Towns, you bring him in. That's a big man who shoots threes. The best of any big man ever is 40% three-point shooter. The whole idea was that's what you were supposed to have built. It's just in the playoffs, you didn't see it nearly as much as you did. Regular season, they were an efficient, high-scoring starting five.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, the weaknesses were found and exploited. You and I disagree. I think it was more defense that was the bigger issue. But Jalen Brunson is like, if Steph Curry didn't have Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, we'd be saying the same thing. A great player who you have to have the right pieces around. Steph Curry had two excellent pieces around him. Then you add KD, and he got some championships out of it. They've got to figure out if this is the best combination around a guy like Jalen Brunson. For Monica, he's already proven he's a winner.
Yeah.
The guy averaging 30 a game in the postseason. He's shown you. He is a guy that can be a 1A. It's the rest of the group.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me if I wanted to build a franchise around Jalen Brunson, sign me up, right? And twice on Sunday, every day of the week. The scoring, the basketball IQ, the character, right? This is a guy that is a winner. I mean, his foundation is called Second Round Foundation because he's a second-round pick, right? And he goes on to exceed expectations. So he is familiar with the work that is required. But I think Han is right in terms of you have to evaluate the landscape of who you're competing against. And as much as they did that this offseason in terms of going to go get Wingstop to get past Boston, Indiana, to me, represents just a sort of unique shift in the tide. And this is probably why we don't necessarily give Halliburton the superstar level, because they are the sum of their parts. And their depth was, frankly, the antithesis of how the Knicks have been successful. So this wasn't just a Jalen Brunson bad matchup. It was a Knicks bad matchup.
Jay Will.
I don't think being a second option is such a bad thing. Especially when you can close as a number one option. So I look at it more as a 1A, 1B. I actually think the real question is I'd rather have Jalen Brunson as a 1B to become a 1A when I need him to be that A the most. Right. And I think finding another legitimate star that can carry the offensive load, that can do a lot of the things that where Jalen Brunson doesn't need to exert that energy all the time, puts the Knicks in the best position to optimize when they need Jalen Brunson to be the best. And we make mention of a guy like Steph Curry, but Steph Curry's game is very different, guys. He moves on the perimeter. He floats around. He doesn't absorb as much contact, and the level of physicality isn't there. So who relieves Jalen Brunson of carrying that load throughout the course of the season? And that's why I think 1B is better for him to become the 1A when you need him to be the Mariano Rivera the most.
Well, in theory, they acquired that guy last season. His name is Karl-Anthony Towns. He was third-team All-NBA this year. But let me read you from C12, if I can, please, here, Cindy, from The Athletic. Publicly, Knicks players made veiled comments all season about poor communication causing their inconsistencies. This involving their defense. Behind the scenes, they and coaches expressed frustration with Towns' defensive habits, less concerned with his talent level and more with his process on that end. Too often, Towns executed incorrect coverages without communicating why he did it. After it became a theme, players worried Towns didn't grasp the importance of the matter. Jay Will, that really, I think, was something that was exploited in this series. Karl Anthony Towns, who was a terrific offensive player and maybe as diversely talented an offensive player for his size as we have in the league, the defensive shortcomings really were noticeable in this series.
Greeny, Cat's offense is art, but defense is math. And in the playoffs, math wins every single time. That is the issue that you have with Karl Anthony Towns, having the durability to make reads. I mean, talk about coaching schemes by Carlisle. Whenever Pascal Siakam was guarding Karl Anthony Towns, when they were on offense, they just sprinted. Siakam just sprinted down towards the other end, and he beat Cat on the court every single time, and it led to mismatches on the perimeter. And a lot of this is personnel.